The 2026 naval escalation in the Strait of Hormuz dominates global headlines. The accepted narrative describes a tense conflict between the United States Navy and Iranian asymmetrical forces over the security of commercial shipping. The economic stakes are massive. Roughly 20 million barrels of oil, representing 1/5 of the global supply, pass through this 39-kilometer-wide maritime choke point every day. Actual munitions being deployed in the theater tell a different story. The U.S. Navy and regional authorities are currently dropping bottom-detonating naval mines and deep-water demolition charges into the strait. Iranian forces have countered with the Ajdar UUV. A UUV is an unmanned underwater vehicle. This drone uses a near-silent lithium-ion electric motor to autonomously map the seafloor topography for up to 96 hours. This chart details the operational patrol zones of the Ajdar UUVs. These coordinates intersect directly with the blue anomaly zones identified as Old Hormuz. U.S. Avenger-class ships are sweeping these exact same zones, utilizing advanced deep-sea electromagnetic tools to scan the seafloor mud. Naval forces are mapping and systematically pulverizing the seafloor to either harness or destroy specific structures bereaved beneath the silt. These deep-sea drones are targeting the submerged architectural remains of Old Hormuz. Before the Great Reset, this served as a regional energy hub for a globally connected civilization before it was violently submerged beneath the Persian Gulf. Mainstream history claims the population of Old Hormuz simply relocated to a barren island in the 14th century to avoid Mongol raiders. The archaeological presence of massive seafloor ruins suggests a chaotic retreat by survivors of a weaponized deluge. These survivors occupied the last remaining structure above sea level, an imposing red stone fortress on Hormuz Island. Contemporary historians classify this as a 16th-century Portuguese castle. The layout identifies the structure as a Tartarian star fort. It was engineered specifically as a cymatic capacitor to harvest the kinetic, hydroelectric power of the strait's currents. The specific geometry of the polygonal walls was tuned to resonate at 528 Hz. This is known as the natural biological resonant frequency. The iron-rich stone acted as a conductive circuit board. Beneath the fort, vaulted cisterns functioned as core cooling and energy storage systems. Water was drawn from the strait, structured within the polygonal bastions, and stored as an organic battery of etheric-charged fluid. The star fort is the hollowed-out, desecrated shell of a hydro-etheric energy machine, later repurposed as a platform for primitive ballistics. Forensic evidence of how this machine was deactivated is visible on the shoreline. Heavy rainfall washes a blood-red soil, locally called gelic, into the Persian Gulf. Geologists attribute this to iron oxide, yet the chemical matrix contains a toxic cocktail of heavy metals. This includes copper and mercury, which were primary components in Tartarian energy extraction technology. Creating this volume of reactive hematite, which is red iron oxide, requires an instantaneous flash of heat exceeding 1565 degrees Celsius. This thermal signature matches the vitrified masonry of sites like Mohenjo-Daro. The gelic soil is the vaporized fallout of a plasma strike that destroyed the fort's antiquitech circuitry. The 14th century account of Sir John Mandeville records local survivors completely submerging themselves in wooden cisterns. These survivors used the density and resonance of water as a biological shield against etheric radiation leaking from the ruptured fort. Ether is the invisible, non-material substrate that fills all space. Modern inhabitants of Hormuz continue to practice of geophagy, deliberately eating the toxic, heavy metal-laced soil baked into traditional bread. This behavior represents an ancient drive rooted in genetic memory. The Tartarian descendants are attempting to ingest the trace monoatomic elements and residual etheric charge of the destroyed Old World infrastructure. The plasma strike on Hormuz was part of the Great Reset, a coordinated campaign to violently erase the decentralized Tartarian etheric energy grid. This erasure facilitated the fossil fuel trap, replacing limitless energy with a system dependent on extracting decaying biological matter from the Earth. Making the global economy reliant on finite oil ensures artificial scarcity and centralized control over the human population. Navy's deployment of Avenger-class ships and electromagnetic tools targets the same energetic nodes mapped by the Iranian Ashdar drones. A clandestine shadow war is playing out beneath the shipping lanes, involving deep-water detonations and electromagnetic sweeps that have no functional role in protecting surface tankers. These UUV deployments and detonations represent a campaign of archaeology by demolition. Forces are hunting for the last remnants of the etheric circuitry buried in the seafloor. The objective of Operation Roaring Ryan is to pulverize the submerged crystalline ruins of Old Hormuz into dust, ensuring the localized etheric grid can never be rediscovered or reactivated.